Our last piece here is to look at an application of polynomial addition and subtraction by looking at the concept of perimeter. So most of us understand what perimeter is, and it's not that hard when you're simply finding the perimeter of a shape, but we're going to step it up a notch today. When you look at the perimeter is simply adding. You're going to add all sides of your figure. So in a question like this, first one is not hard at all. You're simply going to add this side plus this side plus this side. But you just have to simply make sure that you're doing it in standard form and combining like terms. So when I look at all these three sides, you have some options. If you really want to be careful, you could just write out the entire thing. So 6x plus 1 plus, I'll do three different colors here, plus 5x plus, so those are my first two sides, plus 3x squared plus 2. So if that helps you to get them all in one line and then identify, okay, this one's going to come first because that's my highest exponent. So 3x squared. And then start combining. We do have some like terms. The 5x and the 6x, those are like terms. So we can combine those. If we do that, we end up with positive 11x. And then last but not least, combine your positive 2, your positive 1, gives you positive 3. So that right there is the perimeter. That's the perimeter of this triangle. Now, if you don't want to write all those out, that's fine. Just simply start by identifying your highest term. That's 3x squared because of the x squared. Then we say, okay, I do have some like terms, the 6x and the 5x, as well as the positive 2 and the positive 1. So you don't necessarily have to write that all out as long as you can start combining those like terms. So that's how we find the perimeter of a shape using polynomials. So try this one out real quick. Think about this one because there's a big mistake that people typically make. So press pause and see and give this one a shot and then see if you made that mistake. So the mistake that people often make is they go, okay, awesome. So 2x plus 9x, that gives me 11x, 11x plus or minus, and then say, okay, yeah, then the plus 2 and the negative 3, if I add those together, that gives me negative 1. So the issue here is that they're only adding together these two sides. Okay, so the question is, well, what about the other two sides? Why are those guys being left out? So you have two options at this point. You could have go all the way back to the beginning and write out the 9x plus 2 here and the 2x minus 3 right here. So that way you don't forget them. So that's one option. So now if I were to add all those together, I'd get the right answer. Or you can simply add these together like we did. And then since there's two of those, double it. It's completely up to you, whichever you'd prefer. So if we double it, we end up with 22x minus 2. And that's what you would have gotten if you just added all your sides together as well. So there you go. There's the perimeter of our rectangle. Now, the last but not least piece, this is really the most rigorous component, something that you haven't done too much before, is finding the missing side of a shape when you're already given the perimeter of that shape. So essentially here is if you want to think about it in the terms of money, let's say there are three people, and together they all have, all right, their total is, let's say, $100, right? All right, you know that person number one has, let's say, $30. Okay, person number two has, let's say, $40. The question is, how much money does person number three have? Well, use your common sense. We would take our total and we would find out, well, together these two have 70, right? So we say, oh, well, 100 minus that 70 leaves 30 left over. That means person three has $30. It's a very similar process to that, except our total in this case, where it was a sum of money, our total money was $100. Now my total is the perimeter I've been given. The perimeter I've been given is my total. And then person one's amount of money, 30 bucks, is this guy. That's one of the sides I've been given. And then person two's amount of money, right here, 40 bucks, is the second side I've been given. And then last but not least, person three that we don't know, there's our question mark. We're trying to find that third side. Okay, so let's apply that same idea to this whole process right here. All right, our total is our perimeter equals 8x minus 11. But then our two sides that we know are 6 x minus 6 and 5x minus 8. So the first thing you want to do is you want to find the sum of those two sides. So we want to add those together. So let's say we have x minus 6 plus 5x minus 8. We want to find out what those two sides are. So if we add them together, we're left with 6x and then minus 14. Okay, that's our sum. Step two is to now subtract that out of the perimeter. So we always write the perimeter down first, 8x minus 11, and then subtract in parentheses, mind you, it's got to be in parentheses, the 6x minus 14. It is so important that you put these parentheses. If you do not, your entire answer will be wrong. We've got to make sure that those parentheses are in. Now we can distribute that -1 to both terms here. So my new question is 8x minus 11 minus 6x plus 14. Combine those like terms, we're left with 2x plus 3. 2x plus 3. And that, my friends, is that missing side. This is the missing side of the triangle that we were asked to find. So that's our goal for today. That's what kind of the most rigorous component is of what we're trying to accomplish. And I hope that really makes sense. And I hope that you're kind of coming to a point where you could do that on your own. So jump on the homework and give this your best shot. Well done.